Hello. Anyone's there? I'm just getting a couple more things situated, and then we'll be good. Yay! Hooray! Hooray! Laura, how's it sound? Alright. I've got to grab my paints, and then it begins. Alright. Whoa! Lunabat! Thank you. You can hear me breathing? Oh, great. And I'm real stuffy, so I'm a super mouth breather today, so this will be fun. That's fantastic. Thank you for hosting me. Alright, is the music okay? Is it too loud? Is it too quiet? Just keep talking and no one will notice. Music is fine. Okay, cool. Well, hi Pupper. Asgard came over to say hello. Alright, well, I need to move my brushes. I'm gonna try not to shake shit too much this time. He said as he shook the table. I'm testing it. Alright. So, I am working on tonight. I've been chipping away at these buildings. And they're from Games Workshop, from the Hobbit line, which is pretty great. They're the same identical kit. Basically, the set that I bought is 3 identical kits, so you can tell from like the side panels here. And then they have 2 different wall sets, like it's double sculpted, right? So there's one on each side. So you get a little bit of customization in there, and then of course like this outhouse can be built on the building or separately. So I have one on here and then 2 separate ones. And then these little pitched window, like attic windows, they come with 1 per building, but again, just to break them up a little. 1 has nothing, 1 has 1 has 2. And then like little embellishments. A couple of them have signs. This has like this weird little like fish embellishment here, and added a pulley. Maybe this is some sort of fishmonger or something. So he's got a pulley system there. This is part of the Laketown set from the Hobbit series, which I didn't watch the Hobbit. I struggled to read the book in high school and hated every minute of it. I just thought it was boring. So I had really zero interest in seeing the movies. I like Lord of the Rings though, but The Hobbit does not capture my imagination in any way. But these buildings did. These buildings were really cool. You can buy this set by itself, I believe, for, I want to say it's like 40 or 50. Or it's called the Laketown House. Or you can buy the Laketown Starter which is 3 of this model kit, and that's what I did because I've got some ideas for some D&D stuff, and I was like, that'd be cool. So it comes with this. It comes with a bunch of cool embellishments and like accessories. I'll grab a couple of them. So it comes with like dock pieces, right? Because this is a town that sits on top of a lake, I guess, right? Lake makes sense for the name, Laketown. So it comes with like all these little each house kit inside the larger kit comes with like all these little dock pieces. Like I said, here's one of the outhouses separate. I've already finished that one up. It's real simple. You can't see, like, this doesn't open and like you can't see inside, but look, they've even modeled a little seat in there. Just a fun little detail there, but you can put that there, and then like the house will sit on this dock piece like that, and then you can configure this however you want. Anyway, so I got a bunch of these dock pieces, 3 of these boats. I got 2 of these outhouses loose. Like I said, one is attached to that building there. So I got 2 of those kind of just floating around. It came with like all sorts of little barrels and nets and like these little like fishing traps. It came with some loose ones of these, and then there's some sculpted there. It came with some lanterns. There's a lantern sculpted onto this post. It came with a bunch of loose ones of those. Yeah, it's a pretty, and that set of the 3 buildings was like 100 and something, but it's totally worth it. Of course, they're from Games Workshop, so the sculpt quality is really high. Look at it. There's like loose fish on this dock and like broken boards. There's like fish bones right there. So I haven't started painting up. I just primed the dock pieces, but we'll get to those later. Not tonight, of course, but this is what I'm gonna be. This is what I'm gonna be working on, probably on stream, off and on. Because I set out to do this last summer. I did one. I had a lot of fun, and then I just didn't follow up with it. The summer got away from us, and there was a lot of stuff going on. Had a lot of people visiting, and just kind of didn't have the time that I thought I would. I didn't have the energy that I thought I would. Pardon me while I set this stuff back down. Walk across my office here. Okay. So, anyway, my point is, I'm excited to get back to it. I've only just got back into sitting down and painting over the last month or so. So, I thought, you know what? I'm getting back into painting. Let's get back into trying to stream it too. So, working on details here. I primed everything brown, like we saw the dock pieces, like you see the door here. Everything was primed that color brown with just a regular brown spray paint. It is the... this is what I used to prime. Rust-Oleum Flat Protective brown. It's a flat brown, so I don't want it to have any sort of shine to it. It's pretty good, actually. This is the first time I bought this kind. I normally use like just a cheap flat black from Walmart. It's like a 90-cent can. This one was about $3 or $4. And a little goes a long way. It covers really evenly and it dries really nice. I personally don't recommend using like the Games Workshop ones. They're great primers, they're great paints, but they're between 15 and 20 bucks a can or something like that. They're really expensive. They're price prohibitive, and I just think you can find better options for cheaper, especially if you're painting up a lot of models. You're gonna go through that primer pretty quick. So any flat primer, there's all sorts of brands that are that bond to plastic, and that's what you want to look for. And I choose a flat because everything's gonna sit on there nice. So because I knew these were gonna be brown based, I got a brown one this time. based everything, and then to get this worn paint effect on here, I picked whatever my colors were gonna be. I've got one that's blue, like a blue-green. I've got a red kind of barn scheme on one of them, and then like a tan, like off-white, yellowish one. So I did the same effect on all three. It's the most subtle on the red one, just because red is such a tricky color to do. And this was a white coat that I then washed with like a sepia wash, and so it came out this kind of like yellowy tan color, which is nice. I like it. And then this blue, of course, is very bold. But I mixed my paints, I thinned them down, and then I got a little piece of a kitchen sponge here. I wet it down, get it soft, and then I would dab it. I use these like old postcards that I made a while back as my like disposable palettes. So I have my paint kind of in a puddle here, dab it, kind of dry brushing but with a sponge. So I dab it, get all the paint in there. I don't know if we're gonna get to this effect tonight. I don't know if I need to do it anymore, because I think I'm past that step on these. So just kind of a quick overview of what I was talking about. It was an experiment. This whole system of doing this was an experiment, but I wanted to give it like a worn, like the paint is like fading and weathered look. So that's why I chose to do it this way, and I'm really happy with the effect. So I pretty much just got the paint on the sponge and then got a towel and like kind of dabbed off some of the paint, and then just dabbed. And I didn't worry too much about being neat and clean with where it was going. I knew this was going to be a messier process, but we're going to paint up the trim tonight is what I'm going to work on. So I've got some different brown colors here that we're going to use, and I'm going to paint up the wood trim on these houses. And then I also need to do some light in some windows here. So on these also I've got light windows, windows that presumably there's a candle burning or something, a lantern burning in the window, and then like a purple, and I haven't washed this yet, but I'll have like a dark blue, I think is what I'm going to use, a dark blue wash to set in the recesses of the purple for unlit windows. And so there's a combination of lit and unlit windows on each house. I didn't end up getting to this one yet, but I'll hit that tonight too. In fact, I'll probably need to hit that before I do trim on this guy. So that is where we're at. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna put those aside, get that there. Shake up some paint. All right, I got an orange. I'm using Army Painter War Paints Lava Orange. I like the War Paint series. Their Army Painter makes a pretty good paint. I didn't like it at first. I used to be a pretty hardcore GW fanboy about their stuff, but first of all, I love the dropper bottles way more than like bottles like this, and especially Games Workshop has some atrocious bottles. You'll see here in a second. They've got these awful little paint pots. The paint dries up really fast. Dropper bottles just give you so much more control. And these guys, the Army Painter, like every one of their paints covers like it's a primer or a base coat, and so they're really easy to work with, which I like. So for my painting cup, for my water cup today, this is from a Yoplait Oui, which is the French yogurt. They come in these little glass cups, and they're so useful and like a nice size. I hate to just throw them away. So recycle, use these as painting cups, or use them as like sauce cups or something when I'm cooking too. I've got a bunch of them. Peel the labels off, throw them through the dishwasher. Perfect. All right, so anyway, this is what I use this is like a gloss. I made these postcards originally to draw on and give to people at conventions when I was still doing conventions. But I got them gloss coated, not thinking about the finish and not really knowing what I was doing. And the gloss coat just was very hard to draw on with anything but Sharpie, and I'm just not. I ended up not liking them and not using them for very long. They weren't as effective as I wanted them to be, but that's what this is sometimes. It's a lot of trial by error when you're trying to sell your own artwork professionally. You see what works, you see what doesn't work. You have to make those calculated risks sometimes. Or you need to better calculate risks in the future. Is also a good piece of advice, I suppose. So again, I'm not going to be super concerned about neatness on this. I keep hitting. I'm going to have to move this lamp a little because I am going to keep hitting it with my brush. So there we go. Make sure you have clearance between your lamps and your brush, otherwise it's gonna fuck you up. Yeah, don't shake it, God. I just saw that one. I read what you said earlier and then I just kind of spaced. Sorry. I'm not being too shaky right now, am I? As I'm painting this. Oh, okay, that's good. Thank you. Hey, here's a sound hack I'm working on. If you're humming along with the music, can they mute you then? Yeah, probably. What? Did you say dumb? Hate you. Hate you. Yeah, that's true. So I'm just trying to jam this orange paint in between these little what are those called? Lattice work. When they're on the inside of a window, are they still called lattice work? Or is that just the name of the design of the slat? I suppose it is. I'll refer to it as lattice work until somebody corrects me on what it's actually called. Anyway, so I'm gonna hit these all here. What I need to do, and I don't think I need to do it tonight, but I need to do a little bit of research. I actually don't know what color lattice work would be in these windows. Is it white? Is it black? I don't know. It's not gonna super matter on the lit windows because I'm gonna do some light radiating out of the windows. Once we get the trim done, we'll go back and dry brush light shining out of the windows, right? So it won't super matter on these ones, but on the dark ones, I'll want to know how to paint the lattice work to make it pop off the dark windows. So, but we'll burn that bridge after we cross it. Oh, forgot my rag. Forgot my painting rag. Pardon me. My allergies been killing me this week. So if I sound like I'm coughing up a lung, I am, but don't mind me. All right, let's start with the old yeller here. I want to do I think I'm going to use this one. This is a medium brown. This one is called German Camo Medium Brown. Well, it's from Vallejo Paints, and it's part of their model color line. Actually, this line is the colors in this specific line are designed for military models, tanks, soldiers, airplanes, stuff like that. But I was at a certain store and they had a bunch of them on clearance for like, were they 64 cents? They're normally, you can see here, they're normally $2.99 a piece, which is still a pretty good deal for these paints. Then they're like down to 64 cents a piece in their clearance bin. So I bought pretty much all of them that were in there. And this was at a time when I didn't have, got mustard water out of this bottle. It means I didn't shake it. These paints are all water-based, so I'm gonna not worry about that water being there. Pour the paint right back into it, and we'll stir that up on the palette here. Not gonna get too worked up over it. It'll just thin out the pigment a little here, which is fine because I'll normally water down the paint a little bit. Over the years of painting, I realized that you do wanna water your paint a little bit, water it down a little bit. It gives you a little more control. You're gonna be working in thinner coats, obviously, but it helps you build up a more even color. It actually gives you a little more control on the model. It takes more time, but this is not a speed process for me. This is a zone out for the evening, and you know, it gives me something else to focus on and kind of clear my mind if I've had a stressful day. And there have been a few of those lately, so that's part of why I'm getting back to it. Laura, am I keeping in frame okay as I'm doing all this?
Yep.
I remember that was a big issue the last time, but I was working on smaller models the last time, so okay. Great, thank you. I was working on smaller models last time, so this time I thought, you know what? These big models are really good to show off. And I thought working on these houses would capture really well on camera, so. And I don't work on terrain that often. I'm trying to start working on more terrain projects. I've started building a half timber kind of in this style a while back, and it's sitting on my shelf waiting for me to get to the next process. I need to texture the walls. It's gonna be more of it's a mud-based half timber, so it's got the frames, and it's gonna have like a mud texture on the walls here instead of these vertical wood slats. So I need to texture it, and then I need to build the roof, and then it'll be ready to paint. But like I said, I started on that project, and then it's been a hectic year already. We were kind of hoping that this year would be a little more calm than last year, but we've been hit. I don't know. I feel like we've been hitting it full force this year, just like always. That's okay. It's okay. We're surviving it. It's going okay. So. It'd be cool. What my vision here kind of is, at least for these painting streams, I think it'd be really rad if people like got out their painting supplies, whatever models they're working on, and just, you know, we could have just a painting jam sesh. Also, right now I stream from my phone is what I'm using. I've got my phone up on a clamp on a microphone arm over my painting area here on my desk, and it works great. I was super happy to build this rig last summer. It's super effective. I love it. But we're gonna upgrade Laura's streaming rig here pretty soon, and so that means we're gonna upgrade her. We're gonna upgrade her completely. And I'm going to inherit her current rig as we upgrade her. And so after that point, probably here in a month or two, I'll be able to do 2 camera streams, and I'll be able to have one camera overhead, just like this now, and I'll be able to have a second camera so you guys can look at my ugly painting faces. I make a lot of dumb faces while I'm painting, and I think it's probably a choice meme all its own. So wouldn't want you guys to miss out on me sticking my tongue out like a 5-year-old with some crayons. Plus, it'd just be nice to be able to. Right now, I feel like I've got to be constantly going with this. I want to watch the chat and make sure I don't miss anybody who pops in and says hello. But I also, because there's no face cam and it's only just focused on my hands here, I feel a little more self-conscious about stopping for too long. And I don't know if that's warranted or not. I'm still getting used to streaming. Laura's offered me a lot of great advice. I've been watching some advice things on YouTube here and there, and just watching streamers that I like and kind of taking notes for how they stream. And so there's some things I'd like to do with it if I'm gonna make it more of a full-on hobby. And so yeah, anyway, so there we go. I'll feel more comfortable when I have a second camera set up, that I can kind of switch scenes and then take a short break. Right now I'm getting a little bit of a muscle cramp there in my hand, and it's just kind of the weird angles sometimes. Also, honestly, I didn't think about this. Hold on. I'm holding my brush in my mouth, but I just had some very serious realization that I'm probably scuffing up paint on the other half of my model, so I should put a rag down. Way to go, Zach. You're gonna paint the same thing twice because you fucked up the paint job on one side. It's alright, we caught it early. I think it'll be fine. Lol. Laura likes to laugh at my pain. But that's what marriage is, I suppose. Finding someone to harass forever. Love you. Oh, I heard my dog. She wandering around. She's doing this new thing where she just likes to, whatever we're doing, if we're not petting her, she likes to come up and just cry at your face until you start paying more attention to her. She was recently in trouble for being naughty.
I found treasure.
Yay, Laura found treasure. She's playing a pirate game. She's not just like, I don't know. She's not picking her nose. She's playing a pirate game. Did you ever, Laura, when you were a little kid and you got caught picking your nose, did your parents or grandparents ever say to you, "Hey, you digging for buried treasure?" My parents would say that to me sometimes. If they caught us picking our nose or something when we were little. Whoa, you digging for treasure? Anyway, that's a fun story. Cool. Glad I told it. Really interesting. These are the kind of hot takes and cool stories you can expect from this stream going forward. I'm looking at this brown. I wonder if it's dark enough. I feel like it's not. However, I'm not going to worry about it because there is going to be a wash that goes over this once it's all done. So we're going to just do the whole thing. And then we're going to, you can't really judge in the moment. Now, if you know the paint scheme is, if you know that that's not what you had in mind for your paint scheme, of course that's different. But I didn't really have I kind of chose 3 different browns, one for each building, and just kind of was gonna make it up as I went from there, and that's what I'm doing. And I think once we put a wash on this, and then we'll do, once I get all the slats painted, we'll do a wash over the slats, which is like a watered down paint. We'll do that wash, and it'll seep into all the little details in the wood and make the details really stand out. And then from there, oh, well, I could be a little less sloppy on this siding. Oh well. Then from there we'll do a dry brush over the entire model with like a tan or something, just to give it an increased weathered look, kind of dirty up the model a little bit more again, and it kind of just will help kind of finish off the effect that I'm going for here. In theory, anyway, that's the theory I'm working on for this piece. So we'll see if in execution it actually holds up. So far, so good though. So what I did notice with these model kits after I built them and set them up, because these are based on The Hobbit and these are built for the Hobbit miniatures game, which is in the Hobbit miniatures game is in true scale, I believe, or it's Games Workshop's version of true scale. So in the miniatures game world, there's true scale, and then there's many scales, but the scales I'm the most used to from the games that I play are hero scale and true scale. And hero scale is like everyone's a little taller, a little meatier, you know, everybody's very statuesque. In true scale, they try to make the proportions what they would be in real life, so everything is a bit smaller and a bit sleeker and a bit thinner as far as the builds go. So not thinking about that, not keeping that in mind, these Laketown in The Hobbit, if you're not familiar, is a dwarf town, a waterfront dwarven town. And so all of these buildings are, because it's true scale, and this is a dwarf town, all of these buildings are built for dwarves. So these are a smaller scale than the one that I'm building, which is in a hero scale. So in the one that I'm building right now, the measurement of a door is 1 3/4 inches. The bases of most of these models are an inch base. Of course, if you play any sort of miniature game, or especially like a D&D game, you probably already know that. But they're mostly an inch is what the square size is. So I started building my custom build to that scale. You can see here. So this door is 1 3/4 inches, and then everything is built off a 1-inch square grid system from there. So this is the half timber I was talking about. I need to texturize. So all these panels here, I'm gonna texture, and then of course build the roof here. That's the inside. This is not a, this is just something to toss on the tabletop. I plan on building a few of these, and my plan was to integrate these buildings with these buildings. I'm still gonna do that, obviously, but you can see here just how different the scale is. This is a hero scale 1-story building, and this is a true scale dwarven 2-story building. I guess it's still, it still holds up for that kind of a world. You got all sorts. Maybe it's a village where there's dwarves and halflings and humans and elves all living in the same town. Probably so. That seems fairly common in most fantasy settings. So, but I didn't know that when I bought the kit. I don't think it would have deterred me at all from getting the kit. I was very excited. It's just a beautiful kit. Games Workshop may be expensive, but I mean, these kits are beautiful. These model kits, they go together so easy. There's a little bit of customization, but it's not, this wasn't like an overbearing amount of choices to provide. Sometimes there's too many choices on some of the model kits and you're just like, I don't know! Crippled by decision making. But ooh, this paint is a little thin, or either this paint is thinner than I thought it was, or I'm scuffing things up as I go, and honestly it's probably a combination of those. Now I didn't, well, I was gonna say I didn't paint the window frame, and I was trying to decide whether or not I want to do the window frame in a different color. I don't think I will. Let's just do the window frame in this same color, at least on this first one. We might get to the next one and decide, oh, see, I know what's happening. I'm touching the model with the side of my hand. And so the corner of this piece, that's something to definitely try to be aware of as you're painting, especially bigger things like this. I keep catching myself kind of fucking up the paint as I flip things around because things are still drying as I'm moving on to other parts of the model. So I'm kind of like this corner, see, I keep smudging paint off that, so I'm not gonna try to touch it up until I move off this end. And probably what I'll do now is, I want it to be even, but also keeping in mind that there's several more layers of paint and wash that are gonna hit this thing. But I wanna make the edges as even as possible. So what I'm gonna do now is touch up these last couple corners that messed up. Then we're gonna set this one aside, and I'm gonna set the paint bottle I used. I'm gonna set the color I used next to this. Since I'm using different colors for each one, I'm gonna set this aside now, and I'm going to put the paint color I used, German Camo Medium Brown. I'll set that back there next to that building so that I know what it is. You okay over there?
Yeah.
Okay. I still got a wet palette there. I'm gonna just move that out of my way as well. That'll probably dry before I come back to it. That's okay. I was a little heavy-handed with the pour. I kind of am sometimes. I mean, it's a big deal. I don't want to say it's not a big deal because you waste paint that way, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna actually pick a different brown real quick. Okay, so for this one I think I'm gonna work on the blue now. Work on blue house. I'm working on flat brown. Model Vallejo model color flat brown. Again, this is another one that was on sale for 64 cents. Shake it up. Shake it up. Get that paint real good. Real even. Alright, so I put a much smaller drop here. Get yourself a water dropper or a pipette or something. Get a little bit of water in there. I just add a couple drops to it. And a couple drops there. And then just kind of stir it all in. Thin that paint out just a little bit more. Rinse the brush. A sea monster killed you. Goddamn Loch Ness monster. Alright, I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna try to work on different sides of the buildings too, since you've already been staring at this side of the building. I don't wanna make you just keep staring at that one side, so I'm gonna flip it over, paint the opposite side so you can see and appreciate the details. Laura, they're all the best side. These are great little models, and so we're gonna just show off each side individually here. All right. What's too scary? Your game's too scary? I'm so sorry. Yeah, that sucks. I feel for you. I do. Alright. Again, I already know this is going to be real thin, so we'll probably have to do a second coat as this dries. Or after this dries. Makes no sense to do a second coat as it's drying, then it won't fucking dry right, will it? Durr. But. No, I said but. Not what. But thank you, I appreciate you thinking I'm funny. We'll go through here and finish this. And hopefully, ideally, if I've kept the paint thin enough and have gone in kind of a fashion that makes sense, I'm gonna just, this whole window area, like window bay here, we're gonna also hit with this brown color. Even though it's already brown, we're gonna hit it with the more consistent brown.
Did you know where your dog was?
Was she in bed, being naughty? Oh,
she was. The door was open.
Oh, she's being such a good girl. See, I assumed she was being naughty.
Nope, she's being good.
She's being good. I'm sorry, Asgard. That was unfair of me to assume you were being naughty.
Hi, puppy.
How's it going?
Good. Look at this tiny dog.
Look at this tiny dog. She's super tiny.
Asgard, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Yeah. You say hi?
Oh, she come and say hi. Can you say hello?
Hello. Oh, yay! Hello.
Asgard says hello.
Asgard says hello.
Asgard, do you wanna have your own stream?
Oh my god.
She jumped up. She's like, yep.
Oh my god. We just set the stream on my dog.
5 million viewers. We know who they're all.
Or just like when we,
for.
Well, I mean, we could do that. Like when we leave, we'll just set up a webcam in front of her kennel.
Stare at my dog.
And be like, hey, keep my dog company while I'm gone. And then,
yeah, you can activate.
And then you know what's insulting? She makes partner before us.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be partner. Little do we know, she's already got her own stream and she's already partner.
Are you a dog affiliate?
Are you an affiliate?
Are you a dog partner?
Mwah.
Dog partner. That.
Barkner.
Oh, Barkner. I don't know about that. I don't think that flows very good, Laura. I think you should try again.
Okay.
You don't care. All right, cool.
Say what I see.
What a great stream. I'm having a blast.
What you guys can't see is the dog is shaking hands with me. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. This dog's real smart and good.
Mwah.
All right. I'm going to hit
Maybe
the top edge here, too.
And the stream giving her a cookie at the end.
Whoa, stream cookies.
Are you good?
What I forgot to do on the other one, I'll have to go back and do and double check, is that I didn't do the top edge of this molding here. Which, I'm not going to worry. I worried a little bit about the bottom edge on that one, but overall we don't need to worry about the bottom a whole lot other than hitting it with like an initial base coat. Because no one's going to see it from the bottom up. But you are going to be looking at it from the top down if it's sitting on a table. So, you should make sure you hit those top edges as you need to. See, I worried about this under part, and of course I'm going to paint that too because of all the blue spatter there, but you're not gonna see that as it's sitting on a table. But when it's sitting like that, you're gonna see those little details. So I want to just make sure that those details are the things you pay attention to as you're painting. Of course, do as I say, not as I do on that one. Okay. On to the bottom half.
How do you like my light?
Oh, it's great. It's it actually,
It looks great on stream.
yeah,
Nothing's washed
it
out.
helps. It helps a lot, and it is nice to have that extra just kind of broad light. Because
It's nice even coverage.
yeah,
It's
it
not
is.
harsh.
It certainly makes a difference, and it makes a difference for me staring down at all this too.
Your colors
So.
look very vibrant on the stream.
Thank you. Yeah, happy with that too.
Your dog keeps stepping on my head.
That's good. Why you trying to curb stomp mommy?
No, she don't like me no more.
She's like, I'm over this bitch.
Whoa, Zach. There are puppies here.
I was being Asgard.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't saying that about my dog. How horrible.
What about your wife?
I wasn't saying it about my wife. I was saying she's saying it about my wife.
Oh. Defend my honor.
Hey!
Who is it?
Stingray9798. Thank you for the follow.
Hey, Jeff. How's it going?
Oh, hi, Jeff. Hello.
He's heard about you.
Thank you for following. How are you doing this evening? I am just painting up some models for the tabletop.
She stepped on me again.
That's good. Why are you stepping on your mama?
She's mean.
Are you a mean dog?
No.
How
She just wants to be
how
loved.
hurtful. Jeff, I've heard lots of great things. And I'm very excited. And I won't divulge any information that I'm not opposed to. Secrets are safe with me.
Secret.
But yeah, I'm very
I
excited.
don't know what secrets you're referring to.
Making some jambalaya. Awesome.
That's much better than our Taco Bell.
Yeah, we had Taco Bell for dinner. That's at least one step down from jambalaya, but I'm gonna say it's many steps below jambalaya. But we did eat Cajun food last week, and it was delightful.
Yes.
I was actually trying to decide. We were at the Cajun restaurant down near our house, near our apartment. I say house interchangeably. I've noticed.
It's a big space, though.
It is a big apartment, but I say I always have, I think, said house interchangeably with apartment. Home, I mean home. Wherever it is, it's home. Anyway, there's a Cajun restaurant that we love that's down the street from our home. There we go.
Good job.
Yeah, I ended up getting you had boiled crawfish last night.
Oh my God.
And so then it just makes perfect sense to use the leftovers and some jambalaya. I had crawfish etouffee. Did I say that right? Etouffee? Etouffee. I don't know. I'm not French or Cajun. I don't know. Forgive me. If that's... But I ended up having etouffee. But I was like, do I want the jambalaya? Do I want the etouffee? I had to basically end up flipping a coin. No regrets, they're both delicious. I've only recently, in the past couple years, been getting into seafood. Fish in general. I grew up in the desert. I grew up in a landlocked state, so I didn't like eating seafood. Etouffee. A?
Yeah.
Hey touffee. Oh, okay. Silent H. I should read the whole thing before
I said it.
before I. Okay. Well, thank you. Now I know. Now next time I go to a.
Now you can sound real impressive.
Now I can actually say the thing instead of just like pointing at it like I'm at a Denny's. There's no pictures on this menu, sir. I'm gonna need you to say the thing you want. Use your words. Use your big boy words. Etouffee. I want the etouffee. I appreciate you coming, hanging out, Jeff. Especially while you're. I don't want to distract you while you're trying to make jambalaya. How long does jambalaya take to make? What's the average time? Do you just like? Is it basically just like throwing a bunch of the crawfish boil leftovers into a pot and just letting them simmer? Or I don't know. I'm like in the past few months we've been doing a lot more of those meal prep, not meal prep, but like those recipe at your door things, right? We were doing Home Chef and HelloFresh, and so I've been learning a lot more recipes in the past few months, trying to get back into the habit of cooking at home more, because for a while there I certainly was not cooking at home a whole lot. Prep time is good, 30 minutes, then another hour or more of cooking. Oh, okay, all right. So it's like, is it kind of like a get everything ready and then kind of set it and forget it, or does it like you need to be actively watching it while you're cooking, or is it more like a slow cooker, like crock pot kind of thing, set it and forget it for a little bit of time? The prep is always a lot of chopping. God, even though we've been doing these recipe kits, I've certainly not gotten any better at chopping.
Hey, you
But
watch the Gordon Ramsay videos.
I watch Gordon Ramsay videos on YouTube sometimes.
And now you're Gordon Ramsay.
I'm basically Gordon Ramsay. I don't know if you know this, but Laura and I's last name is Ramsay, which is obviously false.
That made me chuckle.
Oh, I was doing the thing, Laura.
You shaking the desk?
No, I pulled the model in toward me.
Oh, so it was completely off camera?
Mostly. It's mostly off camera. And there's like a couple small details that I gotta be really close to work on.
What if you get a recipe right now?
I'm getting a recipe?
Look, read it.
Oh my goodness, okay. Sorry, again, I got tunnel vision. This is my problem doing this. And I knew this was gonna be an issue from the get-go, so bear with me as I learn how to stream better. I get fucking tunnel vision on what I'm working on, and then I forget to read the chat. First step after prep, cook a pack of bacon. All right, so far so good. You had me at bacon. Then remove bacon and eat while you cook the actual meal. Yay! This is the best recipe ever. Okay. That's perfect. And eat while you cook the actual meal. Oh, she heard the word bacon, and then she came over to give me kisses on the hand in hopes that I had some.
No bacon for both.
Use the grease to cook down your ground pork and so on. It is hard to... It's hard to focus. I can focus on painting and talk. I can't focus on painting and talk and read. Reading is the problem, because I'm a functional illiterate. I can't do. I can barely do two things at once. I'm passable, but doing three things at once is difficult. So, but this is a learning process. This is a learning process. We're getting there though. I think I'm doing okay. I'm holding up. And when I do this again in 9 months, then I'll be that much better. I got it. I gotta do this some more. I tried to do this last year. I set up this rig. I'm streaming from my iPhone, so I've got like this camera mount on a microphone, like scissor arm kind of thing. And so that's how I'm streaming, because I'm running my computer to its max on just my drawing software. I'm about to upgrade equipment here pretty soon, but until then I'm working off my phone. I had built this phone rig last summer because I wanted to start streaming some painting. And then the summer got away from us, and we had a lot of people come to visit, and there was just a lot of stuff going on. And then I just didn't paint. Basically, it wasn't that I lost interest in the streaming side of it. I just didn't have the time or energy to paint for most of the summer. Laura got me this. It's part board game, part miniatures game. It's called Blood Bowl, and it's fantasy football. So it's the starter set that she got me is orcs versus humans, and she got it for me last summer as we were doing RTX. And I was super excited. I built it. We played a couple matches, and then it sat on the shelf unpainted up until February of this year. Laura had a big surgery, and so there was a lot of recovery time, and Laura's sister was here to help us. And so in kind of the downtime in between, there were a lot of naps, so there was a lot of quiet time alone to myself, where in between my naps for work. So I used the time to just put on some headphones and sit down and do some painting, and I am almost completely finished with her Blood Bowl team. How many pieces per team? There are 12 models, and then a bunch of like extra like little pieces like baubles and goobers. So they're all painted up. I just have to add the decals to everything, and I'm just being kind of gun shy with that side of it, because I picked up. I don't typically do decals on any of my models, so this is kind of the first time I'm playing with that, and so I had to pick up some technical chemicals that help the decal process, and so I'm just trying to do a little more research before I, ruin a model that took me almost 9 months to paint. So. But now I can work on my army. I have the orc team. Laura has the humans, and hers kind of is in the style of the Louisville Phoenix college football team. The models themselves have like a bird motif, like sculpted onto the figures. So I was like trying to think of like, all right, what can we do that can play into the bird motif? And then I thought of the Phoenix, and Laura happens to already love red. It's one of her favorite colors. So I was like, we'll do red and white. I'll base it off the Louisville Cardinals team colors and kind of that build, and then so I got that all put together. You see that on my Instagram. The links are down below as you're watching the stream. So my Instagram is down there in the links. You can see it there. Mainly my Instagram now is mostly like food photos and model photos, and that's pretty much all I post pictures of. So I try to keep it real singularly focused on there. Laura takes all the best photos of the family, so me just reposting her photos wouldn't be very interesting. And this is about the only interesting thing I do. So if you even find it interesting. Sorry, again, tunnel vision. I'm gonna learn though. I'm learning as we go. Thank you, Laura. Sorry, I'm gonna go back. Do you sell them after or display in your home? Oh, I had a bunch that I used to sell at shows, kind of as a supplement to other artwork I was selling at my table. I knew that I could sell the models pretty quick after I painted them, especially when I was doing like fantasy or gaming conventions, because it's really hard to find good quality painted miniatures, and especially I had a lot of female figurines, and so finding like a really cool female figurine is surprisingly difficult. So I sold off a bunch that I had, and now years later I kind of sit here in deep regret of selling them off. I do commission stuff also. Oh, I used to. I do occasionally now. Yeah, so I've sold them in the past. I don't typically sell them because I have seller's remorse. I wish I would have kept them, because I got rid of some really cool models and some really cool paint jobs that I was super proud of. But c'est la vie. That is life. We live and we learn. I'm sure I'll find more models to buy in the future. I have no shortage of models. But, you know. Do I want to show a few pieces off? Okay. I need to see the Fantasy Fair in Second Life. Stream it live tomorrow. Oh, cool. What time are you streaming that? Oh, you just said that. Oh, I will be at work. Are you putting these videos up? Are you keeping them in the videos on demand, or putting them up on YouTube or anything like that? The only reason I asked that is because I was asked that same question about my streams today, if I was going to be putting these up on YouTube or something so people could watch afterwards, and I am going to try to do that. So now I'm just being more conscious of that. I would love to check it out. I don't get off work until 11 in the morning. The Facebook group video library. Okay, cool, great. So I will find it on Facebook and check it out, because that sounds super interesting. I guess Laura called for a show and tell break. That's good, because my hand's cramping up. So we can do a show and tell break. And I finished that first side there. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did here. I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to set medium flat brown over there with that. Get rid of this palette, get it out of the way. Let's get this here. These painting rags that I use are old t-shirts that either don't fit or were just garbage, and so rather than just throw them away, you cut them up. They make perfect painting rags, right? Because you can get them all dirty and use them up one last time. And then when they're good and filthy, there's no need to wash them. Then you can throw them away. But you get like one last use out of them for doing that. Gotta run, meeting. Okay, have fun. Enjoy the jambalaya. And I'm going to put this up on the YouTube, and it'll be in the on-demand stuff. So you'll be able to come back and check it out if you're interested. And thank you so much for stopping by. It was a pleasure getting to talk to you, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you more in the future. So have a great night, Jeff, and yeah, enjoy. Thank you so much. I know, that's...
Good luck with the meeting.
Good luck. Alright, what should I... Asgard, how are you? My little dog. My little doogie. Little dude. I gotta find which ones are worthy of showing off. What is worthy?
They're all worthy.
No, you're a liar. How dare you lie to these people? How dare you lie? Talk amongst yourselves for a moment while I find these. Coffee talk.
Good job. Very interesting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Grab a couple more things. May as well just grab a handful of items, I suppose, if you want to show some stuff off. Okay. Hi, Asgard, you sweet dog. Asgard, my sweet, sweet dog. Oh, my music stopped. This playlist is pretty short. I just built it today, so. What? Yeah, I know, but I've been so busy jabberjawing I didn't notice.
That's good.
Good, I'm glad that's good. How long have I been going? What, like an hour? I don't know either, but we're gonna keep going. Yay! Alright, show and tell. Here's a unicorn I painted. I don't know how to do this. I've been going for an hour now? Cool. I guess I'm just gonna... I don't know how to do a show and tell. This is silly.
Kindergartners do it.
Yeah, I know. Kindergartner's doing it. What am I doing? I don't know how to do this. Oh, plus, it's like really fucking washed out. Here's a unicorn I painted. This is from the Wizards of the Coast. Nope. Not correct. This is from the Whiz Kids. Whiz Kids is doing a miniatures line of pre-primed miniatures. They're being licensed by D&D. They're doing licenses with D&D and with Pathfinder. And they're doing all these cool pre-primed, really well-sculpted models. And this is the unicorn. I love unicorns. I really do. Not ironically, I just really enjoy... I really enjoy the laziness as far as a fantasy character goes. Of just like, it's a horse with a thing on its head. Now it's a fantasy character. And I've just always really enjoyed that. And my dad had a really cool unicorn tattoo. I remember it pretty vividly. And so, I don't know, unicorns are just kick-ass, you guys. And if you say, you know what, don't at me. If you say they're not, then I will fight you. This is Laura's quarterback. He's known as a thrower in the Blood Bowl game. All of the different positions on her team have different color helmets so that you can kind of easily spot them on the field. This is the football marker. It lets you know which model. Every model has one of these like pre-drilled holes in their base. And this little football marker lets you know which character is carrying the ball at any given moment, because it does run kind of in a turn-based version of football. It's very fun. So this is her quarterback for her team. She also has another version of quarterback, which is called a star player, and they've got like little extra bonus stats. So I've got a modded version of this model. But yeah, there we go. And I did a static grass, and then a really cool effect that I saw somebody else do online, where to get straight lines on your grass, after your grass is dried, after the glue has dried on your model to hold the grass down, you get a popsicle stick, like a coffee stirrer or a popsicle stick or something. Dip it in white paint, run the thing down across it, and that's how you can paint the straight line across the model base there. I thought that was really cool. I tried it out. Works great. Can't recommend that technique enough. I'm going to be working on my Blood Bowl team at some point, so maybe we'll get back to that and show that off. So there's her quarterback. Here is a beholder that I painted a couple years ago at this point. This one's an older model. This was from the Reaper Bones line. I think it was the first wave release, Reaper Bones Series 1. It comes in 2 pieces. You basically glue the top of his head, base fell off, the top of his head to the body. So you can actually see inside his mouth. You can paint inside there and stuff too. I glued this before I painted it. A lot of people don't do that. They'll want to paint inside details before they glue stuff together. It's really up to you. This one I thought it was a pretty big opening, wouldn't make that big of a difference. And I feel like I was right. Anyway, he's got a bunch of eyeballs. He's a pretty awful monster to have to fight in D&D. Basically, each one of those eyeballs does a different sort of laser beam that does a different type of insane damage, and he sees in all directions, and he can't be snuck up on. He's a pretty foul monster. I love this model. Love this model. His original base that he's on, these bottom tentacles here, or eye stalks, are actually on the base, and they're what hold him up to the base, so he sits more like this. But I trimmed around the base and drilled a hole here. I drilled a butthole so that I could fit this fucking flight stand in it. I got these cool sculpted bases at a show a few years ago. They're like a cracked earth lava base here. And then I drilled a hole in it and put this clear acrylic flight stand peg. And there we go. That's how he hovers above the lava. Anyway, so that's the beholder. He's a dick. Here's a gorilla with big ol' monster metal gauntlets. Oh, helps if I show the fucking camera and not the light. Hey, light! Do you see all the cool? The camera's right here, dummy. Anyway, this is from a lot.
That's amazing, though. That camera's pretty great.
Yeah, I'm impressed with how it's doing. Yeah, way to go, iPhone.
It's really top notch.
Yeah, it's actually making the model look better than it actually looks too, which is pretty cool.
Accurately representing its beauty.
This is from a game called what's it called? It's a game I don't play, but I picked up these gorillas for another purpose. For a different game that I no longer play. So this is a World War II game, weirdly enough, and Dust. It's called Dust Tactics, and it's like an alternate history World War II game where the war continues on, and they have both armies build like giant mechas and shit too. So there's all sorts of weird technology. The Nazis have these cyborg gorillas. So there we go. I got 3 different gorillas in that box set. I only needed 1. I got 3. Painted up 2. I think one of them's gone now. I think I gave one away. Here's a knight. He's a dick also. Oh, that's a cool scream as I bring this knight on. That was cool timing in the music. This is from the Chaos Warriors pack. That's like 20 models. It's like a $50 box of models, but they had like different you customized like different helmets, different hands. You can either do 2 weapons or weapon and shield. I've got a myriad of these. These guys have really cool capes. If you like painting capes or you want to play with like transitions, or these just have, the capes alone have really good detail for practicing different techniques on. And then of course just, painting armor. You practice that. So this I just wanted to practice with orange, and so I did an orange color scheme on this guy. I don't play Warhammer Fantasy anymore. They don't even do Warhammer Fantasy the way they used to anymore. But these models are pretty cool. So I got a bunch of these evil knights that I can throw into games. And that's a lot of fun. What else? I got a dwarf. This guy's kind of a dwarf rogue. This is also from Games Workshop. I got a lot of Games Workshop models, so just, brace your butt. The dwarf models are fun because they come with like these little extra hands that are holding like beer steins, of course, because dwarves love drinking. I gave him like a purple and black and like subdued look. I tried to give him a rogue kind of look. He's got a crossbow and his flagon of ale. So this is my dwarven rogue. Also, there's a really cool effect for like it's especially good for like a broken concrete, but I gave him kind of a cracked stone, like broken stone effect as well. Because these dwarves, right? Dwarves and stone go together like other things go with each other. This is cork. This is like that thin cork, like those cork tiles that you put up on your wall. So you can get one of those cork tiles and just break it off in chunks, glue it to your base. You can kind of see the unpainted cork through that little crack there. Yeah, and then you just paint it gray. I did a wash on it. I painted it gray, did a wash, and then hit it with a couple different colors of dry brush to get all those cool little cracks and divots, and it looks like broken earth or broken stone, and that's a really quick and easy basing effect you can do, and for dwarves it works really nice. But if you're doing a lot of like sci-fi or modern setting stuff, it also is great for like broken asphalt and stuff. So on to another modern piece here, or the only modern piece I have. I got an older Space Marine. I just did, again, I was just playing with color schemes that I wanted to play with. I don't play 40K anymore either. I basically don't play any miniatures games currently other than Blood Bowl with Laura. And then I just collect models and reuse them for D&D. And that's it. But I still like cool models, and so if I come across some that I just can't live without, I try to paint them up. Stuff like this, to answer Jeff's question earlier, do I keep stuff or sell stuff? Stuff like this, where it's just stuff I wanted to try painting that I don't have any use for. If I come across those models, and I do get models like that, I'll usually paint them, keep like one or two as shelf pieces, and then try to, pawn off the rest. So here's here's Laura's. This is a Hero Forge model from HeroForge.com. That's where you can custom build your 3D model of your miniature, and they will 3D print it. This is an earlier sculpt. They've changed the material that their base printing is in. So I haven't bought one since they've changed the materials. So this is like one of the first generation Hero Forge models. And I love it. I love that site. Your models are going to be a little pricier on that site because they're custom, but the quality's there. They seem really sturdy. The detail's really nice, and they keep adding newer and newer features. They've recently updated where you can actually go in and move, so they have like a bunch of pre-done poses. Well, now you can go in and move arms and waists and heads, so you can tweak things even more and customize it even more than before. This I made for Laura for Valentine's Day one year because we couldn't find a cool Dragonborn model, a female Dragonborn warlock. We just couldn't find a model that fit those needs, and so I got on and made a lizard person, Dragonborn looking one. She got this cool fin mohawk thing, and I made that for her and painted it up, and that's her character in our ongoing D&D game. One of our ongoing D&D games. We've got so many, Here's a character I didn't get to play, but I built a model for him for a different ongoing D&D game. It was going to be a Bard Satyr. And this is a Goatman model, or Beastman model from Games Workshop from their old fantasy line. But I painted him up. I actually stripped the model from an old paint job. Redid some accessory details, cut off some arms, re-glued some things, did a whole new paint job on him, added some not only static grass, but I've got him some wildflowers on his base because they're magical creatures in nature, and so I gave him some little wildflowers on his base there. He is a good guy character made from a bad guy model, so there we go. That's my satyr. He doesn't have a name. Here's I've got a couple of these models that are kit bashed from several different model kits from Games Workshop. The body itself is an ogre. It's from their ogre models. So the body and arms, basically everything except for the head is part of the ogre models. And then the head is an orc. I had spare pieces on all these, and so I just kind of made shit up. And I'm really happy with how I made 2 of these guys. Actually, the other one is really cool too. I may as well grab him. So I made 2 of these guys, and I wanted to try like a. So elves in D&D have an equivalent to a dark elf called drow or dro. I don't know how you pronounce it. I assume it's drow. I've always heard other people say, I think it's drow. Anyway, so they're like dark-skinned elves who live underground, and I wanted to try something similar but with orcs. And so I'm calling these guys night orcs. So I gave him a purple hue skin tone. And that guy's cool. He's yelling. He's like he's calling for other baddies to come out of the woodwork to help smash some adventurers. He's got a pretty brutal looking machete kind of sword, and gave him a weathered some verdigris on their metal pieces here, because they've been in dark, dank caves and stuff is what I assume for them, right? So basically I paint up the model. I do like a copper, and then I dry brush a like gold over it to give it kind of a burnished gold, right? And then I go back and I hit it with like a very watered down turquoise as the wash, and then it seeps into all those crevices there and starts to give it that oxidizing Statue of Liberty copper look to it. So it's a really cool effect. It's really easy to do. Again, I just hit it with like a copper paint, dry brush gold on top of it, and then wash it with really watered down turquoise, and you get that cool effect. And done sparingly, it comes off really well. I didn't quite get it as good on the hammer, but in those belt buckles it looks exactly how I hoped it would turn out. So again, those are Games Workshop kit bashes from a couple different model kits. But again, especially any fantasy models I can find a use for in D&D. I got 2 more that I'll do for show and tell here, and then we'll hit it onto the next building. This is another kit bash model. He was, I believe the model's called a rat ogre, I think. Hi, Nugget. Oh, my dog came over to cry at me. Asgard came over to cry because she's a sweet baby, and mommy and daddy are ignoring the sweet baby. I baby talk on my dog. Who are you to judge me? Shut up. No, I love you guys. Thanks, but don't judge me. This is so this is a rat ogre model, but I had I believe this is like a chaos demon face or something like that. Anyway, this is like some sort of chaos mutant face. I didn't use the rat head. I put this head on it instead. I gave him a hook hand. He had a different hand originally, but it got knocked off. So I found this cool hook piece and just gave him a hook hand there. This guy's name is Kevin. This guy's traveled all over with me, and it was the first time I got to really try doing like these. This is like exposed muscle, under layers of flesh, and this is the kind of the first time I was really playing with how to layer different flesh tones, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about painting this model, and I don't know if it still holds up. If it still holds up as a good paint job, but I learned a lot from it. I had a lot of fun, and I just really enjoy this model. And so this one's one of my favorites. I won't ever sell this one. Kevin's very important to me as far as models go. This one I just recently finished last month, I think. This is from an old Games Workshop fantasy kit called Isle of Blood. I believe the body of Kevin's body base came out of the same kit. It was elves versus like these rat men. And this was the commander, the HQ piece for the elf army. He's a elf wizard, high elf wizard. I have 2 of this model, and one of them I realized was primed and ready to go, but also I hadn't glued them together yet. So I took him apart and painted the pieces individually, a technique I don't normally do myself. But I did it. I painted pieces individually, and that enabled me to really focus on the cloak on the inside, and to really focus on the inside details of the body. And I could paint both inside and out of the orb with wet blending effects to give it this blue and green swirl that I wanted to give it. There's the back side of the cloak. That's just some layering techniques. This is kind of the same thing I did on this knight here. We're just building up thin coats of color, and just very thin coats, and constantly doing like little wash details, and then building up lighter and lighter coats in areas that are closer to light sources. So, but the inner cloak I'm super proud of. I did a wet blend from black to purple to blue, and so wet blending is you're keeping the paint moist on the model, and then you're applying paint and you're actually blending it on the model rather than like blending something on your palette and then filling it in. So you're applying the pure colors and then you're blending between the pure colors on the model as you're going. And then to give it that starry effect, I hit it with a white, basically I watered down white paint, put a flatter brush, a brush like this or something, dip it in the white paint, and then I'll do like that kind of a spatter just to give it like a spray effect. And as far as like a starry cosmic effect that I was going for his inner cloak, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And yeah, so this one I'm super proud of. This one I finished very recently, and I've had this model I've had this model since before we moved to Austin. We've been in Austin 8 years, so I probably had this model for 10 years now and haven't done anything with it. 9 or 10 years, haven't done anything with it. It's sat in my model box for that long. Finally got an old model painted up. I love it. It's such a cool sculpt. It makes me want to play an elf wizard now, just so I can throw this guy on the tabletop. Anyway, that's a very small sample of stuff I've painted and stuff in my personal collection. So it's amazing how good these look up close on the camera. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. This is working out great. You know, I mean, this is something that, you know, even when we update my rig, if there are nights where I just don't feel like being on camera, I don't mind just, you know, tossing the phone system back up. So this will be a nice, you know, just backup kind of rig to have on the ready for stream nights. So I do look forward to the 2-camera system, but I'm super happy with how this looks. And the Streamlabs app on the phone is really cool. It's cool that I could add my hashtag and add my little icon in the bottom corner there. It's very versatile for just like being a pretty simple phone app. And the camera, and is the mic quality okay? How's the mic quality compared to everything? I assume it's okay. I can't hear though, so I don't know. Anyway, so that's the show and tell of model stuff I've put together. So I'll go ahead and I'll lay these down so you guys can take one more quick gander at them before I put them away. And yeah, happy with it. Yeah, it does look pretty good on camera. It helps that these models are so photogenic, you know? But yeah, the colors show up great. I mean the unicorn is a little washed out, but it's just very lightly. It's white and pink, so I didn't expect it to. There's a lot of white and pearlescent effect on this unicorn, so I don't expect him to not be washed out. Anywho, the rest of them I'm really happy with how they show up on camera. Not that it matters how they show up on camera like long term, but I'm glad that I was able to do a show and tell here. Thank you, Laura, for suggesting a show and tell. That's great. How's everything sound, Laura? How's the mic quality on this? Yeah, that's good. So, I just set these off to the side. I'm not gonna worry about putting them back on the shelf right now. They're not really in my way if I set them off to the side. So, all right, back to it on the painting. Because I got this sign here. This sign is gonna be a pain in the ass later when I'm painting this side of the building. We're gonna paint the front side. So first I think, well, I wasted a lot of orange right there, but c'est la vie. I'm gonna grab a yellow real quick. I'm gonna grab a yellow, and before we do anything else, I'm going to hit these front windows again. Might not be the yellow I wanted, but we'll try it. This one was a sample from Reaper Paints, so I actually don't know what the name of the color is. For whatever reason on their sample, they didn't name it. Got those from working in game stores for so long. They only sent out these samples, and at the time I was one of the only people on staff that painted, so I got to keep those samples. So. All right. Water this down a little bit. Yeah, that's a little more Dijon yellow than I was hoping for. I need something a little more vibrant. This is sun yellow. I'm gonna add it to the other yellow though. We're gonna just make a custom color for these windows, and that's A-okay. That's okay, that's good. Now we're looking more like it's got kind of a honey mustard flavor to it. That's all right, that's pretty good. Tasty. Paint looks so good, I'm gonna eat all this paint. Don't eat paint. Whatever you do, don't eat paint. All right, now again, I'm not super worried over whether or not this is gonna just overtake the orange base coat. The orange was strictly a base coat just to help yellow pop on this. So I'm gonna do yellow in here. I'll probably do yellow in a couple coats. Maybe just the one. This looks like it's covering okay. We'll see. We'll see how this dries. I'm probably not gonna do the trim on this house tonight because I didn't do these windows in advance. And I really should have. These windows the first part of these windows need to be done before I do the trim. Because I'm so sloppy. Because I am so sloppy. I don't know what that voice is I'm doing, but you're welcome. So we're just hitting it in the crevices here, inside the lattice work. Like I said, the lattice work on the light windows is just going to be whatever the color of the light is. And then on the dark windows, we'll go back and hit it. But I'm going to research what traditionally that looked like. I'm not a purist necessarily, but on something like these are fantastical. If I can give it some sort of a realistic detail, I might give it just makes it feel a little more grounded in the world and on the table. So I don't know. I mean, at least in theory, that's just a working theory. So there's yellow in there, and again, I mixed up way too much yellow. I'm pretty heavy-handed with the pours, but also these dropper bottle paints are a little cheaper than the Games Workshop paints, so another reason to enjoy the dropper bottles. Once this is dried, if I need to do a second coat, I will. I probably won't. I didn't do second coats on the other yellows because what I did afterwards was I got kind of this yellow-orange wash that I hit it with after the yellow dries. You can see here, that's what that yellow-orange wash sits right there in all the crevices, and it gives a pretty good look there. So I'll probably just let it do that. So I'll probably just let this dry as is. Make sure I don't have any more windows that I need to do there. That's all good. Those are all good. So let this dry real good, then I'll hit that with a wash. Get rid of that palette for now. I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna leave this on. I'm gonna just put these houses down real quick. We're gonna come back to these. We're gonna do the opposite sides. So we'll do that side and that side. Again, sides you've already seen, but I gotta hit them. So we're gonna get to them. I'm gonna take a break though, go use the restroom, have a sip of my soda pop, and we'll be back for more painting here very shortly. Okay, great. Thanks for mouthing at me. Let's toot. Let's toot. I'm gonna go back to it though. Can I pick you up? Huh? No, I said she's toot. Like cute, but like dummy. Oh, such a good girl. I love you. I love you too, Laura. I love you guys too if you're still watching. Anyone still here hanging out? Anyone who hangs out in the future? Anyone who's hung out in the past? Love you guys. This is great. Part of this process is that I'm gonna sit here and paint anyway. So really, it was Laura who was like, well, why don't you just stream that? You're gonna paint, you may as well stream it. You paint, you talk to yourself anyway, so you may as well stream it. She didn't say the last part. She was nicer than that. All right, we're gonna put a little bit of brown down. Oh, actually these models are slightly in my way because I forgot that that's where I put my palette. Okay, that's okay. There we go. Water it down a little bit. I'm just getting some water on my brush and then stirring it around. Bring it around town. All right. All right. I find that sound effects really help the process. So, whatever you're doing in life, add some sound effects. And I think you'll find that whatever you're working on is improved tenfold by sound effects. So, in choosing these color schemes for these buildings, I tried to think of like what I would use these buildings for, as far as like when I throw them on the table. Because we don't play Warhammer, really. Well, we don't. Not. I said really, but 100, we don't play Warhammer. Laura's never been hugely interested in those large-scale miniatures games. Although, it seems like Games Workshop's done a lot more streamlining of things, and we think we found one that we're kind of both interested in. Thanks to a friend of mine at work who recommended me looking into it, and I have, and there's some pretty cool models, and it looks like one we might get into. And Laura really liked Blood Bowl. That was kind of a nice test run for small-scale model-based games. Basically, the models are cool, so it's hard to say no when the models look so good. But some of these rule sets for some of these games are so fucking convoluted that it's just like, I just want to roll some dice and like smash some toy soldiers around. Jesus. And that's kind of what Blood Bowl was for the most part. It's got a few rules that are like in classic GW style, hard to cipher. You need a fucking decoder ring to understand some of them. But the game's been out a while now, and so there's actually quite a few forums that you can get that clarification on, and they've published errata themselves. What? This one's called Turbo Killer. It's by... I don't know. Oh, really? Carpenter Brute. B-R-U-T. Brute. Yeah. It basically came up as recommended because of all the other techno songs that I download, so... I dig it. I love it. And that War Witch, he got good taste. Okie doke. I was actually in the middle of saying something when I was talking about this, and I don't remember what I was saying. Something about, me thinking about the color schemes for these buildings as I was deciding what to paint them. We don't really use them for their original intended purpose, which is just kind of like scatter terrain in these miniatures-based games, because we don't really play those miniatures-based games. But these are really cool fantasy buildings, and I want... Basically, when I got this new job and had a little bit more spending money, I told myself I wanted to really start getting into some more immersive tabletop experiences for my D&D group. And so that's why I'm building this one from scratch. I'm learning how to build some fantasy buildings from scratch. Of course, these I thought would be fun to build and paint and really give me some good inspiration, and I could like take notes from how these are modeled as I'm building custom stuff myself. Because I just think it's a lot of fun when the dungeon master says, "Oh, you guys walk into a town," and then the players get to look at the table, and there's like a little town. You have a little model town, or a little, if there's a marketplace, you got a bunch of like little stalls with various stuff on them. I think that kind of immersion is really fun, and it ups the, it gives your game some production value. And I think if you can afford to, however you can afford to, whether it's making paper doll cutouts yourself. My friend Will is running a game for us, and he's made a bunch of like basically paper craft props, where he's also a very talented illustrator, and so he's drawn some scenery just on white cardstock and has built them up tent style, and he places them around the table, and it's just so cool to get to have little 3D scene features on the table, as opposed to just like flat maps or like illustrated debris and illustrated like building tiles and stuff. There's nothing wrong with those, and I use those a ton too. But if you can throw in a couple, like just like a centerpiece, one piece of terrain is a centerpiece for what's going on in the scene or something, then I think that's really neat. And so I want to get more and more into that as time and funds might allow. And so this is kind of the first foray into that. So as I'm sitting here deciding what I want to paint, two of these buildings, you'll see I gave these signposts. I have a third one of these. Each one of these came with one of these, and they also came with these hooks. So I gave one of the houses this hook, and two of the houses have this sign. I don't know if I'm going to paint something specific or just something generic on those signs. That'll probably be toward the very end. I may even do some decal stuff on them, because I've got a bunch of decals that I've never really used. But like I said earlier, I've got to learn some decal work for Laura's Blood Bowl models, so I might practice on these signs first as I'm getting used to the chemicals involved. So I'm sitting here trying to decide, well, what would these buildings be in this little village? If it's a fishing village, if it's a dockside town, what are these places? So I've got three of these buildings. I assume this tan one with the hook is, I assume there's some sort of fisherman, right? Now there's all these kind of seaside details. There's fishing nets and chains and ropes and like fishing baskets. And that's sculpted onto the model. There's no removing that detail. Great. That doesn't bother me at all. It's great. I love any like little details like that. This one, I've added these little fish ornaments on the window edge here, and I've added the hook here. So maybe this is a fishmonger's house. Maybe it's some sort of warehouse. I also gave it a different front door than the other two houses. You can see there. So I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking maybe this is some sort of warehouse, some sort of fishmonger's something or other, or some sort of fisherman supply, something like that. So I've given it kind of just like a drab warehouse tan, kind of dirty color, and then green scales. The buildings have these scales in this one panel here on all of them. I did the green scales doing like a bit of a fish scale or a dragon scale, something like that. For this blue one, I figure maybe it's got this sign on it. Maybe this is like a tavern or a pub or something, right? And so I give it like I try to think of okay, well, if it's a dockside, like a fisherman town, what would be a theme? What would be a good theme for a tavern by the sea? And maybe it's the Salty Mermaid. Maybe that's the name of the tavern. And so what does the Salty Mermaid look like as the adventurers come across it for the first time? Well, it's this shabby old half timber with faded blue paint and these kind of blue purple accent scales around the building that look like a mermaid fin. And so that's kind of what I've done here. I made a different blue than the blue that's here, and then I washed it with like a purple wash, and then I hit it with a very light blue dry brush after the purple wash dried. And so that's the effect here, and then I did the same effect on the front here. And so maybe I'll paint a mermaid here, or like a mermaid fin, or just have a fishtail here on the sign. Or maybe I'll just have a generic beer stein there, who knows. Keeping it general enough that I can use it for different purposes in different games. If I were smarter in advance, I maybe would have altered the sign and where I placed it on the building, and maybe I should have magnetized that. But we live and we learn. I still have one more of these signs. I might do that for for that last one that I have, I might magnetize it and make it a modular piece on whatever building I decide to put it on. So. So, anyway, I have an idea for an adventure that I want to use these for right away. The bulk of our gaming group is our friend, another couple that we know. It's just the four of us that play together. They just had a baby girl this year, and so to a very small degree, although I'm sure they'll disagree. I think we'll probably play as often as we ever did, because we just didn't get to play very often to begin with. But keeping baby in mind, and the needs of baby and the needs of parents with baby, I'm trying to work on some concepts for maybe just a couple like one-shot ideas, like one-shot mini adventures that we can play in a day. And we already have a game kind of ready to that effect. It's our D&D an evil campaign where we kind of treat DMing as like a round robin activity. So we're all taking turns, and it's more of an anthology piece. So it's many different adventures in the timeline of these villains, but they don't necessarily all. It's not necessarily one ongoing campaign so much as it's a bunch of short stories about these villains. I hit kind of a little low on that brush, so I just kind of scraped it off while it's wet. That's what I was doing there. If you make a mistake with wet paint, again, if you're watering your paint down, it's a little thinner. It dries a little quicker, but you can still. I'm trying to be as careful as possible around the blue, because I don't want to have to redo the blue. I custom mixed a couple of those colors in the blue, and I don't remember what I mixed to get what, and so trying to make that paint again would be kind of a nightmare. So just trying to be careful up against the blue. Hey! BFO Zone, how you doing? Thank you for the follow. How are you doing this evening? I'm doing pretty good. Sitting here painting these little model homes for some D&D or whatever else I might need these little homes for. I assume for a while they're just gonna help sit on my shelf and weigh them down so my shelves don't float away. Is usually the case with a bunch of the models that I buy. But God, they're gonna look fun on a shelf in between use. Plus, I don't work on a whole lot of terrain, so this has been fun to paint on these bad boys. Anywho, how are you? How's your evening going? Did I say your name right? BFO Zone? I appreciate the follow. If you have any painting questions or model hobby questions, let me know. Sitting here working on some terrain tonight. I was saying earlier, I don't really play any large scale tabletop war games anymore. I used to play a little bit, but I don't really play those games anymore. I lost the interest and the funds for a long time. And now that I have the funds, I'm kind of looking to do other things. I'm more interested in building some just nice tabletop features for my D&D group. And so I picked up these houses from Games Workshop. They're in the Hobbit line. These are the Laketown houses. And they're just really fun house models. They're at a true scale for dwarves, so they're a little smaller scale for hero-based characters, but that's okay. They still are going to look great on the tabletop, and once I have some other buildings up around them, they look great, all three. I have 3 of this building here, kind of jumping back and forth between them. As I'm letting paint dry on one, I kind of hop onto the other. I think they'll look really great once I get a tabletop worth kind of put together. Have a little bit of like a town square kind of effect. So I got some other pieces I either want to build or pick up to finish up that town square set of models. So but we're off to a good start. Just gotta get this underside just to clean up the blue. I'm not really focused on, like, it doesn't need any detailing on this underside because you're not gonna see it, right? Standing above the table or sitting above the table, you're not gonna see this. But if it's up on a higher shelf, you might see under it a little bit. So I just want to make sure that it at least just like looks uniform enough, but I don't have to like obsessively. I'm probably not going to hit it with another coat. Like if I do the rest of the trim another coat, I'm not going to worry about the underside a second time. But it's good to worry about it at least the once, I suppose. So, all right. So that's the second side done. First side, second side. I'm gonna set that one aside. Rinse my brush. Grab my rag. And hey, Alexa Bees. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Welcome to my little painting cult. All right? How are you this evening? Did I say that? Is it Alexa Bees or is it Alex A. Bees? I don't know. I can't read. I think it's Alexa Bees, but let me know if I got that right or wrong. All right, here's building number 2. Grab building number 2. Gonna work on that side. Oh, I did have that rag down for a reason. I forgot what I was doing already. I'm easily distracted. That's okay. Nothing wrong with it.
What's up?
I said I'm easily distracted.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep. Hey, Laura, can you tell me if... I can't tell if chats... If people aren't talking, which is fine. People aren't required to chat. I just want to make sure that my chat's not frozen. The chat froze on my phone like a long time ago, so I'm not counting on that, but my dashboard chat hasn't gone anywhere since you said how amazing the models look on camera. I just want to make sure if anyone's trying to say anything, I'm not missing out on great conversations. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm ignoring them either. So
Don't be the worst.
I'm trying not to be the worst. At least it's streaming. I can't guarantee the rest of So if you guys are talking to me and I'm not seeing your messages, I apologize. My chat may not be updating, but
It should be on computer.
It should be on computer.
Yep.
Okay. All right, great. But again, you're not, if you want to just hang out and quietly watch, you're more than welcome to do that, and I appreciate you hanging out. If you have any questions about what I'm working on, or you want to talk about some models that you want to work on or whatever, yeah, please feel free to chime in, but you are not obligated to do so. This is just a chill painting sesh. My day job is, I'm not going to talk too much about the specifics of it, but I work in news media, and it is stressful at times. And so this is, I haven't always worked in news. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and I've been painting for, almost 10 years now, Laura. I've been painting models and miniatures for almost 10 years now. Almost 9 or 10 years. And so it's definitely my kind of I can zone out and paint, and it's kind of my moment of zen, is just getting to sit and paint. So, and then Laura thought, hey, my wife Laura is back there in the background. She's doodling on other things. Hey Laura.
Yeah.
Are you in the chat?
It should be, yeah.
Can you give yourself a shout out?
Me?
Yeah. Cause you stream also.
Okay.
And she's a much better streamer than I am.
Shut up.
She's pro status.
You.
I'm streaming from my iPhone currently. I have a.
What's your shout out command?
I don't know. Maybe I don't have one.
Well, if not, I'll just do this. Unless you ban likes. Oh, I just shouted you out.
Cool. Thanks for shouting me out on my own stream. But at least we know the shout out works, right? Is that right?
It didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work.
I don't have that set up for you yet.
Okay, well, I don't have it set up. Anyway,
But I'll just drop my link in.
yeah. My wife's handle is LunaBat. You can go check out her stream. She streams. She's trying to stream at least a couple times a week. Is that right?
Yep.
So, yay! She's also my mod. So, there we go. And I, when I remember to, or I'm able to, I try to mod for her. But yeah, this is kind of my zen. So I like to just space out. This gives me something to kind of calmly focus on. I didn't used to have the patience for this. I remember when I was a kid, my dad had tried to get me into model cars a little bit here and there. And I just didn't have the patience for it. Fast forward into my adult years, unfortunately my dad's passed away long ago at this point. But, man, I then kind of fell into this war game model hobbying and stuff, and I really think he would have dug it. I really think that had I brought home one of these model board games for him, that we probably would have had a lot of fun playing it together. So, you live and you learn. But I remember some model cars my dad had got for me here and there, and I didn't build them quite how you're supposed to. I kind of kit bashed some things and customized things, and the paint jobs were absolute shit. I'm not much of a car guy, so I just really, it didn't grasp me on a really staying level. And then, years later I got into these. I actually got into Warhammer 40K because I really like sci-fi stuff. And so that did grab my attention. And I think that would have been the game that my dad and I would have liked to play together, had we the opportunity earlier on. But I didn't know about these games when I was a kid, and we certainly didn't have the money. Games Workshop games are pretty pricey, or at least they were at the time. They were a little more affordable now, but even just a couple years ago, they were still pretty price prohibitive. And if you're playing in big games or you're a tournament player, they're still kind of seem price prohibitive. But they're doing a lot more to appeal to an everyman and a smaller gaming market, which I think is about time and good for them. And I'm excited to see what they do. And their models get better and better just over time. So I got into Warhammer, and then through that, got into Warhammer Fantasy. Been playing D&D for a long time, also with my wife and friends, and so I've been getting more and more into fantasy stuff. I wasn't really into fantasy that much growing up. I was more into sci-fi. But in recent years, I've really gotten into the past decade or so. I've really gotten more into high fantasy stuff. I mean, I liked Lord of the Rings when it came out. I read Lord of the Rings in high school. I didn't care for The Hobbit. Had to read The Hobbit. Didn't care for it. But I like Lord of the Rings just fine. And never really paid any more attention than that to fantasy stuff. Didn't really play D&D or anything in high school. It wasn't until I went to community college that I had some friends who played D&D, and I was like, you know what, I'm kind of interested, but there's like a Star Wars version, right? And I would be interested in learning the Star Wars version just to see, like, because I used to be a really huge Star Wars fan too, so it was like a really good in to learn the world of role-playing games. And before I finished college and moved away, they ran a Star Wars campaign for me for like 6 months. We played, and I kind of just fell in love with it right off the bat. And they made it such a fun experience, and I am definitely guilty of not being a great DM to new players in the past. My wife can attest to that. But I think that comes with not really knowing what you're doing, or having ideas bigger than you know how to properly express, or a combination thereof. So I wasn't a great DM. I still don't think I'm a great DM, but I've learned a lot about the tabletop and how to treat your players and all that. So I think I'm a lot better DM than I used to be. Yeah, but I've kind of in the last few years really fallen in love with like high fantasy stuff. So now I feel like although at first I felt like I had a lot of catch up to do, but then a little show came out called Game of Thrones, and I feel like that kind of opened the high fantasy doors for a lot of people, right? Yeah, right. So I feel like it's been the perfect time period to like want to get into high fantasy. Plus the Hobbit movies have come out, and even though I don't care two squirts about the Hobbit, it doesn't mean other people might not. And again, just like comic book movies, if it helps get new people into the thing, then it's not going to get any hate from me. Just because it's not my cup of tea doesn't mean it can be technically bad, it can be like poorly made, but if people love it and it gets people interested in greater and greater things. I mean, I was a Star Wars fan through the prequels, and there's a lot that goes wrong there, but if it wasn't for Star Wars, I wouldn't be playing D&D actually. So because it was Star Wars that got me. The first Star Wars role-playing game I played actually wasn't the tabletop. It was Knights of the Old Republic. I saw that game, and I thought, hey, Jackie! Hello. How are you? Geeky fried rice. Welcome. Welcome. I'm talking about what got me into... Hi, you're booking flights for a wedding. Well, Jay's doing all the hard work. Whose wedding, Jackie? Whose wedding? It better not be yours and you didn't tell us. I better not just be finding out about you and Jay's wedding right now.
Friends.
You fuckers. Okay. I take back the you fuckers thing.
You got very accusatory.
I just want... Look, it's been a while since I've seen Jackie. I don't want any surprises like this on stream. Well, I am from Vegas. Well, that's true. How are you, Jackie? How have you been? Whoa, Laura, where'd you get that emote?
From Sakura Tsubasa.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah. They gifted me a sub to her channel.
Yeah.
Yay.
Jackie, how are you? How are things? How's life treating you? It's been too long, my friend. It's been too long.
Sorry, I'm reading Jackie's responses in your chat.
I heard you came to the house and didn't wait for me to get home. How dare? Well, that was more of a transactional visit. It was in the afternoon. It was before my nap time. So,
For a big boy nap.
for my big boy nap. You work all sorts of crazy hours. Jackie, we live right down the street from each other. We can see each other whenever. You just have to let me know when you're around. I miss you guys. I'm sure Laura does too. But I certainly miss you guys. Laura's mostly recovered at this point. So we're around. Let us know. We're around. I just know that your schedule is crazy. Work seems to keep you pretty busy these days. My work's just, my work's what it is. Laura's work is going well enough. I'll let her fill you in some other time on all that. But, let me know whenever you're around. We would love to see you guys. Don't sit on the porch, there's a lot of ants. I need to get my finances in order so I can pay you, so I can have your emotes done for my channel. Just email me details of what you want and need. You have my email. We'll work out whatever else from there. Let's not let the money issue hold up the emotes issue, okay? Don't sit on the porch, there's ants. A lot of ants, but no uncles. Ha ha ha, that's an ant pun.
That's horrible.
Shut up, Laura! You don't judge me. Who are you to judge me?
It was great, I'm sorry.
It was terrible, you're right. It was terrible, you're right. Jackie, I saw... What? Go ahead, Laura.
Still got the notes from the time you talked about emotes from like 6 months ago, question mark?
A year ago, Jackie. A year ago. It's been a year. I know. It's been, I'm sure you've lost all track of time from the sounds of it. Your job. Woo! I wouldn't want it, Jackie. I hope you're doing well, though. I hope you're hanging in there. I hope they're not running you too ragged.
I've got to hop over to play with Natan
Okay, bye, Laura. Thanks for modding for me.
You're welcome.
Have fun. Tell the pirates I said R. Anywho, Jackie. You hanging in there? You doing okay?
What?
I'm talking to chat, Laura.
Oh, sorry about that.
God, fuck off already. Just kidding. RTX is around the corner. All the busy. That's true. You don't have. It just seems like you don't have a moment where you're not crazy busy now. Seems like this job keeps you going. Oh, I did the thing where I pulled the model away from you. You guys were staring at a blank table. My apologies. This is hard to get underneath there, though, so I had to pull the model in closer. All right. Well, there's that. I'll just hit that weird spot right there. Let that dry. We'll let that dry. We'll come back to this. Yeah, we'll let this dry and come back to that. So, all the busy. I know. I saw your new. I sneaked a peek at your new gaming rig. I'm pretty stoked for you. We're about to pick Jay's brain for some details because we're gonna start building Laura's rig soon. I'm gonna take over her old one. I bought some equipment from Jay the other day. That's why I was there. Just say hi and then. Is this considered an IRL stream? I guess it could be.
IRL's not its own category anymore.
It's not its own category anymore.
No.
Oh.
Just chatting is kind of.
Oh, okay. So Laura says
IRL is like 50 categories.
IRL is like 50 different categories now, and right? That's what you said.
Yes.
You named your computer Plankton because it looks pissed off. That's funny. That's funny. No, I guess so. What happened was that they got rid of. Oh yeah, arts and crafts. Is creative not a category either anymore?
I'm not sure. I think it is, but I can't remember. It might be like drawing, painting. I don't know.
Oh, okay, I'll look at the categories and see if there's a better one that fits. I'll look at that one. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, it's hard to. Laura says hi, by the way. She's about to go play. What are you playing? Sea of Thieves.
We'll be a pirate.
She's gonna go be a pirate. Gonna go be a pirate with our friend Natalia Slays on Twitch. They're not streaming though, I don't think.
Yeah, she's streaming.
Oh, she's streaming. Okay, so
Shadow Paw Strike Force.
Laura's part of a stream team now called the Shadow Paw Strike Force, and she's pirating with them. So that's pretty cool. She's not like DVDs or anything. You wouldn't steal a car, so don't steal DVDs.
I won't.
You guys remember those commercials?
I promise.
Those commercials are hilarious. You don't know I wouldn't steal a car. Fuck off. Anyway, I'll oh my god, now I do. You wouldn't steal a car. And it was like all filmed in weird Dutch angles and it had like Matrix-esque music. They were really trying to appeal to the Matrix crowd of the late 90s, early 2000s. Pardon me, I'm holding the brush in my mouth. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Jay. I'm gonna pay better attention to the categories. Honestly, the last time I streamed, I was last summer. And I had the category. I didn't think I needed to because all the information was the same. I didn't think about the categories having changed since then. So I'll pay better attention to that. I'm gonna go check out the different categories. So yeah, there's a lot of them apparently. Jesus. So I wonder where the stream is just floating in the abyss tonight.
You're in the void.
I'm just, yeah.
And people are still watching you.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. People are still coming by and finding me, so that's cool. I don't know where I ended up.
Yeah, you're not in a category.
I'm not in a category. I'm just fucking sitting here painting to myself. I'm sitting here by myself talking to myself. That's chaos. That's from Jurassic Park, by the way. What up?
When I go join in, I think I'll need to be on mic.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't care if you're talking in the background.
I just make sure whenever you're doing PG-13 because it's gonna carry over.
Oh, I need to watch what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Laura's on a team that has a PG-13 rating.
The team does have a PG-13 rating, just their stream.
The stream does, yeah. And you guys are streaming, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, no problem. Thank you for the heads up. I'll watch my P's and my Q's, as my grandma would say. Watch your P's and Q's. I don't know what that means actually. Anyone know where that saying originates from, or is that even a saying that anybody else knows? Did my grandma just troll me?
Yeah.
Is my grandma a troll? I'd have to answer 3 riddles every time I went over there. Is she a troll? Sorry. Talking about travel stuff. Might have to rent a car. That's cool. Where are you guys going? Where's this wedding? Why wasn't I invited? I like weddings.
Maybe because you don't know the person?
That's no excuse. Not knowing a person isn't an excuse for not getting an invite to their wedding. I go all sorts of places. Delaware. Hello. I'm in Delaware. That's one of my favorite jokes in Wayne's World. They're on the green screen and they keep putting up like all these postcards to different locations. And they get to Delaware and he doesn't know what to say for Delaware and he just freezes and he goes, "Hello. I'm in Delaware." And then it cuts away. That's the end of the scene. So anytime Delaware comes up, I think of Wayne's World. There's a story that went nowhere. You're welcome. Another Zach Martin classic. Another rock fact. Delaware. Jesus, when are you guys going?
Is that our dog?
Was that a dog?
Yeah. Our dog's barking in the bedroom. She's barking.
Asgard's barking in the bedroom, apparently. She's probably... I have the window, the blinds pulled up, so she's looking outside. Probably. You've never heard that one? Again, I don't know if that's just like a weird one that my grandma said that no one's ever heard of. But, no offense, Jackie, I wouldn't be surprised if you hadn't heard of it. It's not the first time that you've gone, "What?" Love you. Asgard! What are you barking at? Oh my god. English idioms, dude. Yeah, I know. Idioms in general are bizarre. The English language is terrible. I gotta go. I don't know if you can hear. Oh, you can't. Can you hear? Can you hear her barking in the background? I'm gonna go get her because she never barks and she's staring out the window. I'm gonna go intervene real quick. I'll be right back. Sorry. And I'm trying to close the blinds, and then she starts flipping my hand off the cord to keep me from closing the blinds. Crazy dog. Hey, Asgard. Oh, thanks. She's hopping over. She's hopping over at me. Asgard, thank you for being a protector and telling the shadowy figures to stay away. You're such a good, sweet girl. Okay, I'm back. She was barking at just some people walking around in the parking lot. And, but you can't make them out. You can only make out their silhouettes because it's dark out. And so she was barking at shadowy figures. You know, just keeping us safe from shadow monsters. Just dog stuff. Just dog business, that's all. She doing good. Arf, 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 you're correct. That is what it sounds like. She very rarely, like, barks like that. She'll bark at us like that when we're giving her hell. Teasing her. Or if it's that time of day. But just like when she's on her own like that, we never hear her do that. So that was fun. But I let her stay in the bedroom today. I left the bedroom door open and let her lay on the bed. So I had the window open in the bedroom so she could see into the parking lot. Since Mommy and Daddy are ignoring her this evening, we thought it would be okay if she got to lounge on the big bed. That's okay. I don't mind. I have no shame. I love this dog like she's my baby. Because she is. She's my baby. Windows are doggy TV if you think about it. That's true. Windows are like the original TV. For everyone, not just dogs. But you're not wrong, Jackie. You're not wrong. So, so you looked up P's and Q's. You looked up P's and Q's on, you can't see what I'm doing. Ah, shit, thank you. Oh, pardon me, sorry. Sorry, Laura. Shoot.
Huh? You say something?
I said the S word, I apologize.
Oh, I'm just gonna keep my mic off until you're done screaming.
Oh, okay.
Say whatever you please.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Jackie, thank you for, I have one job. You're right. It's hard because sometimes I get like lost in the little details, and I've got to kind of see them a little closer. Especially like this week, allergies have been messing with my eyesight. Mind your P's and Q's. I don't really think you're using that right in this context. That's more of a mind your business kind of a saying. Did you look up where it came from? You said you were Googling it. Did you get any answers? They've been kicking your ass too. Yeah, what is going on? I hate this. I love the weather, but I wish things wouldn't bloom. It's supposed to be sunny and nice again tomorrow and through the rest of the week. So that means everything's gonna bloom all over again, and then it's supposed to do this today, what it did today. It's supposed to do this again next Tuesday and Wednesday. So we're going to go through this entire cycle again, start to finish next week. So no relief next week either. It's a real mess. Mind your P's and Q's is an English language expression meaning mind your manners, mind your language, be on your best behavior, watch what you're doing, or similar. Attempts at explaining the origin of the phrase go back to the mid-19th century. Well, okay. So I was close. Mind your manners. Mind your business. It's like your grandma. It's like my grandma's version of "Don't start none, won't be none." Basically. So my grandma wasn't really hip to street lingo. That's okay. I find it weird when when like, so my grandma and grandpa didn't, like, for years they didn't have like a VCR or anything, right? Like, we would go over there and it's like whatever's on TV, that's what we watch if we were gonna watch TV. Otherwise we'd stare out the window, right? The TV for dogs. Can I, instead of saying staring out the window from now on, thanks to Jackie, I'm just gonna say watching TV for dogs. I think that's cute. Anywho, my grandma was fun in a way that she was like kind of crazy, and she was like real religious, kind of like the Footloose Town religion, where it's like if it involved singing or dancing or fun, then you weren't allowed to like it. You weren't allowed to do it. She had a sign that she'd put up in her yard at Christmas time. I love my grandma. First of all, let me say I love my grandma. When I babysit a friend's cat, they just told me throw birdseed outside and leave the window shades open. Kitty TV. That's funny. That's funny because especially with cats, because they're gonna get all into it, and then they're gonna do that weird chirping thing. Cats are weird. Cats are bizarre. I'm more of a dog person. The grandma I'm talking about actually was a crazy cat lady too. At one point she had, I may have told you this story before, Jackie, but at one point she had 15 cats. I counted them one summer. They weren't all indoor cats. She would take in a lot of neighborhood strays and just like feed them outside. So, but I would say a third of them, she probably had 4 or 5 indoor cats of the 15 that either she claimed or claimed her. So that's still a lot of indoor cats. And 4 or 5 dogs at any given time. She loved animals. She loved animals more than people, that's for sure. But, I mean, honestly, that's not wrong. That's not wrong. In general, animals are better than people, so not wrong there. But she was we got one year for Christmas, we got him a VCR when VCRs were still a thing. It's not like we got him a VCR on the way out, but we got him a VCR, and we would basically just watch Homeward Bound. And my grandma liked Forrest Gump, except she made us fast forward to the part where Jenny basically sexually assaults a retarded man. So that's cool. Forrest Gump, what a great movie. I don't remember. I was ranting about something about my grandma being crazy and old world. Anyway, but she was part of, I don't remember what the church was, but it was basically like the town in Footloose. Like, you just couldn't, if you wanted to have fun, then it wasn't for them. She had a sign. Oh, this is what I was going to say. She had a sign in her yard every year at Christmas. She'd have like a small nativity and a sign that said, "Jesus is the reason for the season." And my grandma was one of those folk. So we couldn't say but. Couldn't say the word but, as in reference to your butt, right? Had to say bottom. Couldn't say crap. Couldn't say God, right? I got yelled at several times for taking the Lord's name in vain at my grandma's house. Like, oh my God! Couldn't say it. Don't say it. So I spent a lot of time in my tween years kind of in trouble with my grandma. So, ugh. So did I. Ugh. Yeah. It happens. Look how great we turned out in spite of it. But I love my grandma. She could be a really nice lady too. So religion makes people crazy. It can anyway. I know it doesn't make everybody crazy, but it certainly has that potential. I certainly have no use for it in my day-to-day. I'm crazy enough without it, you know? So, anyway, I guess that all stemmed from me talking about mind your P's and Q's. Oh yeah, because I said my grandma wasn't real street. But yeah. You only knew one grandparent? I'm sorry. I had a few grandparents. One that I lived down the street from. Like my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side, my mom's parents. They lived in the town I grew up in. My dad's family is all in Kentucky, so I didn't see them very often. So, them I don't know as well. I don't have as many crazy stories. I've got a couple crazy stories about them, but we didn't see them very often. There were reasons. There were definitely reasons, but one reason was that they weren't there, so she wasn't happy. What? Your grandma wasn't happy when you were born? That's so mean. Why grandma being so mean? Grandma, why you being so mean? Grandma, be nice to Jackie. Be nice to Jackie, Grandma. That's what I say. Tell your grandma I said be nice. Oh, you're being born when she was old. Yeah, I mean, I guess. But we all get old. We all get old, Jackie's grandma. Is your grandma still around? Oh, and also you're a hybrid. That's a big deal, isn't it? A bigger deal than it should be, probably. We're all hybrids, Jackie. We're all hybrids. So, Grandma needs to pump the brakes on that one. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing wrong with being a hybrid. People love hybrid cars. They're so much more efficient. You know what I mean? Tell her that. Tell your grandma that. Be like, chill, Grandma. Is your grandma still around? Do you still have your grandma? Or does she get too old? Aw, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's a bummer. I think I'm out of grandparents. Nope, I'm not. I still have one grandparent left. But yeah, my grandparents have almost all gone at this point too. Both my grandparents on my mom's side are now gone. And my grandpa passed away a couple years ago. And then on my dad's side, it's just my grandpa Leo now. I used to have like a bunch of grandmas and grandpas on my dad's side. I don't really have a large family that like I know all that well, but I had a lot of grandmas and grandpas. A lot of people got divorced and remarried, and then so there was a lot of double ups on grandmas and grandpas because there were so many extra family members, I guess, on my dad's side. So, but other than that, so I think I just have one grandpa left. I don't really talk to him that often. I mean, there are some reasons for that, but I should probably say hi to him. I don't know. I don't really get sentimental about that stuff either. You know, people come and people go, and it is what it is. I've never really been super close, and they were kind of weird when my dad died, so they were weird when my dad died, so it was hard to like justify, like, I don't know, it felt hard to justify putting in the effort. That might sound, yeah, I'm right there with you. More sentimental about family members you have an actual relationship with. And isn't that kind of the point when all is said and done? It's about those relationships, really. So, all right. Well, the front side of this one is done. We're approaching 9 o'clock. We're in the 9 o'clock hour in 3 minutes. That means I've been streaming for about 2.5 hours, I guess. I have to go to bed in an hour so I can get up for work. I think we finished. So how many sides did we do? We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and did some windows on this bad boy. So we got some progress made. Yeah. I think I'm gonna call the stream here for the night, though. Jackie, thank you so much for hanging out with me at the tail end here. I hope your trip planning goes well. I'm trying to make this more of a... thank you. Thank you for hearts. I'm trying to make this more of a regular thing. Like I said, I set this whole thing up. I set up this rig last summer, and then I did one painting stream, and then, you know very well, time gets away from you. And it certainly did in the past year. Jay's sweating up a storm, but we booked flights so far. When is the wedding? When do you guys go? I don't know if I saw if you said that. June 9th. Oh, coming up. Not too far away. How long are you guys gonna make a mini trip out of it, or just gonna go and come back? Leaving the 8th, coming back the 10th. All right. Cool. Well, that'll be fun. 6:30 a.m. flight. Yay. Oh, 5:30. I can't read. I was kind of far away from the screen. 5:30 a.m. Blah. I'm sure we could probably watch her. We've got something coming up in June ourselves, but I don't think it's till later. Hit me up. We'll work out details. But I'm sure we'll be able to work it out. So, well, I think I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna cut the stream here and call it a night. But I think I'm gonna try to shoot for doing this at least once a week. I'm trying to get back into painting more often, and of course Laura was like, well, you should get back into streaming more often too. 2 birds, 1 stone sort of thing.
What's
so
up, babe?
I was just talking about you.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this more often. It's fun. It was hard the first time around because I was painting smaller miniatures like this, so that was definitely hard to keep going. Oh, my preview stopped on the computer, but that's okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and chatting. Have a good night. Good night to you and Jay and Sobbers. And shoot us a message when you got some free time. We'd love to see you guys. And I'm gonna go have lunch with Jay here pretty soon too. We're gonna go have a job bitch fest and lunch session or something. We're gonna figure it out. But yeah, let me know. Let us know when you're around. We'd love to hang out again soon. So now that Laura's feeling more recovered and I'm around, so okay. You guys have a great night. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody. Thank you again.